Take a motion to open that.
I'll motion open information.
Sorry.
I'll second it.
Moving second, all those in favor say aye. Okay, the meeting is open.
Can
Got
we
Jim on there?
hear on that or not?
Actually, so it's coming back to.
Jim, can you hear?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not getting them.
Can you hear me?
One second. Can you hear me now, Jim?
Yes.
See?
It's on there, but we'll get you on here.
Huh.
Want to let Jim speak first, or do you want to go into what's going on?
I was hoping it would be on that, so it'd be louder.
Hmm.
See?
Right.
Sure. You're putting it in? Yeah.
Technical difficulties, so we're good.
Hmm. Let's see.
That's it, right?
No. Can you hear us now, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still going. Hmm.
Yeah, I've done it before where I called in on my phone and it used to people not phone. That,
Try that.
I'll try that.
Sure.
Yeah, Jim, I'm just gonna call you.
John's doing.
Oh, you're doing it?
Who is Jim?
He's the lawyer.
He's a lawyer.
Drainage.
Where is he located?
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas, yeah.
Jim Hudson.
He's with who or what?
He's a guru of a lot of drainage.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's,
yes, he is.
he kind of helped write my own drainage years ago. That's how old he is.
What is his name? Can I ask?
Jim Hudson.
Jimmy,
It's
still here?
yes, it's a little confusing. There have been historically two Jim Hudsons.
Yeah, it says it needs to be.
Yep. I'll let you know.
There we go.
I don't know.
I think we need to switch to Teams.
Yeah, here we go.
You're gonna,
Now that's echoing.
you're gonna have to mute.
Oh,
She'll mute.
All right, Jim, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Got them right here.
Yeah, I don't want to let Jim go now, but we're here basically for informational meetings, see what we need to do. There's been some, especially on the lower end of DD1, there's some issues down there that need to be addressed. And so we're here to talk about that and see where we need to go. So I don't know, Jim, you want to jump in on this or?
You know, not certainly know enough that's going on, Mark. I had a brief telephone conference with Jackie. She had some concerns. And I also had a brief talk with John Rosengren, who appears to be present in your meeting. As you probably know, or some of the board doesn't, I have worked extensively with John and his drainage engineering firm for many years. John's predecessor was Don Etler, and Don Etler and I did a lot of work in Worth County a number of years ago. But I'd rather hear what the concerns are and then try to address that. I don't know what's best. I'd like to get everybody in a position after we talk today to at least understand what's going on and be somewhat comfortable with it.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes, it does. So
Are you John?
I'm John, yes.
And who are you with?
I'm with Golden Mink Engineering. And I'm just here today to provide input. I'm not billing anything today.
yeah, we haven't,
I'm just hanging out.
no action's been taken or nothing. It's more informational. I got a call here a month ago, probably or more, probably back when we had that first 5-inch rain.
Well, what? Green quarter.
So, and this was after we had our original meeting on the upper or farther up, and there's some issues down below that needed to be addressed, so we need to throw another meeting together to try to figure out what we need to do. how much of the ditch we need to look at. I don't know what you think down there. That's, if we could get by just doing some lower work or not, I don't know.
We're sort of on the lower end of it, all comes downhill and the sediment stops,
Okay,
right? You can look at GIS in the past 12 years and see how it's starting to meander.
Okay.
A lot. And I keep taking on more and more water.
Yep.
To the point where it took out knee-high corn this year after 3¼ inch rain.
Yep.
So I had other spots that didn't get any water in on the farm that I'm fighting this one. I'm fighting it for, and I've got tile under all of it.
right,
And I've done stuff to try to take as much water as I can, but I'm in a neutral drainage district also, so I can't take all the water.
no.
That's expensive to us. And
So, below you, outlets of Shell Rock, right?
yes,
And
I
when we
do
talked.
not dump any water into that ditch.
Okay.
Off any of my property.
And the main issue with you, sorry to interject, but, you're not in the schedule that we have at this point.
Okay,
So, I don't know where to go with that because it shows that you're supposed to be in the district on our map, but then.
The schedule's
Jump
not
in.
in.
And I've looked at,
Everything from Mockingbird East isn't in
Yeah.
the schedule.
It's supposed to
We
be,
don't
isn't
know
it?
why.
I thought Iowa law said that everybody that's affected with drainage on that ditch has to be part of it. I thought that was already
Well,
law.
They should be. Should
And I
be.
don't-
So we're paying the bill for the whole thing and
I don't know
probably
where,
40%.
are you east of Mockingbird?
No, I'm up here right at the start of it.
he's in the schedule.
So if there's any work done east of Mockingbird, yeah, you're gonna pay in the top end.
Right,
And
but
yet-
nobody else other than these people in yellow are paying, we're paying for all of it, all the way down.
If there's work done.
Right. That's
That's,
But I don't see that this-
That's why we're having this meeting.
well,
But see, since I've been here, I've never had any work or any bills for DD1 that is outside of that
Sure.
scheduled area. So that's why this is coming up, because the original schedule only shows the district ends at Mockingbird.
And I don't know why it didn't get reclassified back in 2012, 13, when that, because DD1 had a project right when I got in here. I was brand new and didn't know any better, and that was Wallace Holland. It wasn't Bolton and Maine.
okay.
So.
So it wasn't reclassified at that time then?
They used the schedule that they had at the time.
I can maybe give a little context to that's right when I started working here was right after that.
Yeah,
And that was a FEMA project. So I imagine that it was, because it was limited, there was few dollars that were actually assessed to the landowners for that.
more than a few.
Right, but
compared to
in
the projects we've had now. This is.
in 2011, FEMA would have paid 75%, the state would have paid 10%. So the landowners would have only had 15% of that bill. So the relative amount, I'm guessing was maybe around 50,000. I don't know. I came in right after that project. But about $50,000 probably was assessed. Classification typically, especially if we're looking at a district as long and large as D1, is probably going to be somewhere in the range of $20,000 to $30,000 to complete. I'm just guessing just based on the acres. But if you're spending $50,000 on the repair, nobody wants to spend another, essentially the same amount again to figure out how we divvy up the bill. Just use what's already there. Would have been the thought process. Again, that was before my time. I'm just giving the context of the project that happened at that time, that happened before I was here.
And you said the DNR said it was a natural ditch.
Well, all right, so the DNR, when he messaged me back, he said he looked at a few places. The only way he's ever seen it described is this drainage ditch.
It is a drainage ditch, but yet everybody.
That's the only way he's ever seen it
Being
described.
built.
I thought originally when we went through this back when you're talking about, they apparently, my memory's not that good, but I thought they said that there was no real records of that ever being dug or anything. It was just people went out and did it on their own or something apparently. And it wasn't really even a true drainage ditch under state. It was the way I understood it.
A lot of original ones like that were just a kind of a meandering
Right.
Yeah.
waterway or whatever you want to say. And they gradually became full blown ditches over the years.
There's a 1913 plat that shows like a shallow creek, and then maybe the landowners dug it
Privately.
help
Yeah,
the
but-
water
But
drain.
they're not
They're not.
scheduled.
I know.
Right.
I'd like to interject,
Yep.
what I read, from the minutes of the Worth County Supervisors back in, July of 1962. It defined the end of the drainage district number 1 as the east end of where Harris's are, and I'm assuming that's Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then everything east of Mockingbird to the Shell Rock River was described as an outlet. And drainage district was everything west of it,
So it's a common outlet for everybody west of Mockingbird.
east.
But then they just get the water and they don't get any reach.
Yeah. See, it was just, it wasn't named into the drainage district per se, east of Mockingbird. It was just defined as an outlet.
And I don't know if we have records that people wanted out and they just let them out or what. I haven't done any. Cause it had to have been a decision at some point, but then how would they have known how to construct?
Don't know.
That's, nobody seems to have records of it. It sounds like everybody went out and dug their own ditch where they wanted
They
to.
just gotta get their
Yeah,
own
so it was never laid out in any properly.
Then, when you got heavy rains and they just went out, cleaned it out for the season.
Drainage district number 1 was requested in 1905 and completed in 1909.
And that's west of Mockingbird?
Yeah,
That'd be west.
at the end of Harris's.
Yeah, and so what you're describing is not uncommon. But we have the copies of the DD2 plans, which actually includes DD1's original establishment, the report and everything are all there. My recollection, I was surprised when I looked up the map for DD1 that it went so far east because those original plans do show it stopping extending about as far east as DD2, which would be in that Mockingbird area.
Yeah, that,
What you're describing of improving that channel downstream, that's pretty common. Once the district digs a ditch, they are pushing their water downstream, and maybe Jim can get into this more. But one of the benefits of being in a district is legally they can push as much water downstream as they can. The only recourse for the landowners downstream is to dig their own ditch or to form a district and assess for that water that's been set down on. So it's not uncommon that this happens. There's one, it didn't go this far downstream, but DD 23, Mark, you're involved in that one. That stops, what's the paved road there at the very south end?
South DD 23.
The highway. Yeah,
Highway 9.
yeah, just,
Well, it'd be just south of there, a half mile.
yeah, where it crosses the
It
road
goes into a
south of there.
natural creek that goes into.
Yeah, we had to go half a mile downstream as the district. And the district has the right to clean out that channel downstream. But oftentimes there's not a lot of benefit to those lands, so that part's not annexed. This is a little bit different situation in that DD1 is pushing all that water down. There is a ton of districts downstream, or not districts, tons of landowners downstream that saw the benefit of improving that ditch to deal with that water. DD1 legally is only responsible for its drainage and for what outlet it needs in that natural creek. There is some stuff you can get into. They're not totally absolved of all damages downstream, but they do have the right to push that water downstream. That gets into some more of the court cases and stuff like that, and not really part of our discussion today. But to the extent that DD1's responsibility, or really responsibility downstream, they don't have a responsibility to maintain it, but it is something that can be requested of DD1 that this ditch be brought in, be maintained by that district, and all those lands along it brought in to help maintain that entire stretch. I don't, Jim might have to clarify that further, but I don't see it as an obligation of DD1 to do that, but that is an option that DD1 could look. And that
Well,
would
John,
what you're describing. Yeah, sorry, Jim.
John, everything you said is correct. It does need a little more clarification. And it just sounds to me like the landowners downstream where the schedule stops have been receiving a benefit, because I'm assuming that their land drains into this same ditch and eventually finds an outlet in the is it Shell Rock River?
Shell Rock River, so the downstream ones that aren't in that district would not receive any benefit from DD1. They're just receiving the water.
But then my water goes into a separate ditch,
Okay,
then into the shell rock.
then in the show.
So you just take on all the water coming from up above.
Yeah.
It floods you out.
So,
That's a highly technical conversation about whether or not receiving other water is a benefit to you. But it's been argued in court, and there have been some cases that suggest that's okay. I don't agree with those cases, but I don't have a judgeship, so I can't make any rulings. I just abide by what the court says.
right,
There's a lot of land there. I mean, there's 4 or 5 miles. So that's, I mean, they gotta drain into that ditch. Some of that land has to drain into that ditch.
in the DD1 or.
You're right. I mean, it has to. I mean,
We're not saying it doesn't, just it doesn't.
well, maybe his doesn't. That's
He was the one
fine.
that came
I'm
down.
not gonna argue about his land, but I mean, there's gotta be a lot of land there. If they want it dug out, and then I gotta get the bill for it. I'm not happy about that.
No,
And they don't get any
but
bill.
that's what would probably happen in the situation would be is if
Right.
you had your own district down there, then they would, you, like DD 23, ended up paying common outlet. We never paid it before, but
That's probably the simplest way. Well, simple,
They make
simple is a very relative term.
real,
So
yeah,
it'd be like another lateral of one, or it would be its own district.
So
it
And then
would probably
how far
want to be
back?
its own district, to be honest.
probably be its own district. You could stop it at the BD1 boundary and do a common outlet like Mark just described. You could include all of BD1 and have a vote in whether it's established. I do think that you could, although it went rough in 72, you could in theory turn that over as a district facility, but you need everybody along there to agree to it. Through the establishment process, you wouldn't need everybody to agree, just the 30% of land not objecting, 50% of landowners not objecting.
Right.
And sorry, I'm taking Jim's thunder on that one. Jim, do you want to explain the establishment process?
Yeah. We keep bouncing about 5 directions at once, but that's fine. Let's get started on some of this. In order to establish a drainage district, the landowners need to agree, and somebody starts with a petition. This is going to take you back to the very start of the Iowa Drainage Code, which is 468.1. And number of landowners agree, and they petition the Board of Supervisors to establish it, along with an engineer's report, and determines that those that are being included in it are materially benefited by the outlet that there is. And you can be in more than one drainage district at the same time. So even though that district already exists south of where one stops, all that land can be annexed into one. And when it's classified, you only have those landowners pay for their material benefit. They would continue to pay for the district that they are in. That is, as John said, probably the simplest and clearest method to do it. And I keep hearing the landowner is concerned because he's taken on water that he doesn't want to take on, but yet he kind of has to pay the price for it. That rule basically, and this has been for many, many years, that a drainage district can gather and collect as much water as it can and send it on downstream to an outlet, which in this case is a shell rock, and there's no consequence. The landowners below that have the option of, if they want, they can form their own drainage district, and that might already be in existence. If that is in existence, that drainage district can charge DD1 an outlet fee to pay their fair share of what water is going through that area. That's also an option. We did that it seems like there was a cluster of districts in part of Worth County, like 7, 8, 16.
Yep.
I don't remember all the numbers, but there are a cluster of them. And we assessed a common outlet against, maybe it was 23. I
23.
don't know.
Yep, assess the common outlet to the rest of those, Jim.
Okay, I had it in reverse.
Nope, that's fine.
23 was carrying off the water for those
Correct.
districts that were dumping into 23.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That was Etler's project, and it wasn't long after that that Rosengren came on board.
Yep.
And that seemed to have worked out pretty well.
Sure, I have faith in that.
One of this.
Did that end up being Linflot?
Yeah, it was Dean Lindflot.
Oh, okay. Well, you have a history in Worth County of landowners that receive a benefit from a drainage district facility, but get left out of the drainage district and don't get to pay for it. That's in a nutshell what Linflot was about.
You're
And
right.
we believed that they got a material benefit because Linflot's changed some elevation of a ditch that went through their property
Yep.
to line up with the drainage district elevation and engineering that was being used with DD23. We don't need to relitigate that case, and that was a difficult case, but I think it eventually got done.
Yep.
Hopefully that has worked itself out. But if you have these pockets of this kind of drainage around Worth County, it's going to continue to boil up from time to time. The beauty of following drainage district law rather than shaking hands at the fence line is that there's a body of law which is enforceable and is generally well accepted. And it exists that way throughout the state of Iowa.
And
I
Jim-
rambled too much. Don't let me do that again.
Nope.
Jim, that gets to another question that I have is, Ken, is there anything that was in your abstract or are there any agreements that were made with any farmers?
Private agreements.
Not that I'm aware of, except the mutual drainage district that was created.
Is that on the ditch or is that on tile in that area?
It's on the ditch.
Because you have open ditch.
Yeah, my open ditch going to my property. And then myself and 2 other landowners.
You
got fish
decided
grading
on
that
that?
ditch.
Is that mutual still in existence?
Previous landowner before me.
Okay, so is there an agreement?
Yes, there is a recorded agreement.
So that we'd need for, that gives us more information too. Of how that was set up and what should be happening going forward. So
And-
basically, you kind of have a private district in a
Right,
way.
no. Makes sense.
Jim, you heard all that about, there is a mutual agreement on that ditch at the downstream end,
Yes.
appears to still be in effect.
Should go.
Well, here's the concern I have about mutual drains is, and I think we've discussed this before in Worth County, is that mutual drains were done, by and large around World War I time period, maybe in the period of about since drainage started in Iowa formally, 1906 through 1920, and the reason for that is that Iowa needed to drain its lands so it could grow more crops, and there was a big, huge push to feed the world, and Iowa was the main feeder to occur because we have really good cropland. But in order to do so, there had to be drainage. Well, what happened was it was happening too slow, and the farmers that were on some private ditch or private project, they formed these mutual drains. Mutual drains got formed under the drainage law, and they were supposed to be turned over to the county for ongoing management after they were established. Most were not turned over. Many weren't because the landowners wanted to continue to make up their own guidance, and that's just fine. But it didn't result in having a uniform law. Drainage law is enforceable, but in a mutual drain, all you do is have a written agreement. So then it comes in under contract law. What does your agreement say? I've had a number of mutual drains that were in existence for 50, 60, 70 years. And then all of the landowners in the mutual drain agreed, and they turned it over to the County Board of Supervisors for management, and then became subject to Iowa Code 468, which covers all of the drainage law in Iowa. So it's not unusual to have what you have, like John said, but now might be the time to get that organized better. I'm a strong supporter of having drainage districts be governed by the Board of Supervisors because by and large, the supervisors have experience and their terms are generally staggered. So you're never without some experience on the supervisors. You have a three-man board in Worth County. Sometimes that doesn't work as well as a five-person board. I better call it person, not man, because we have men and women equally qualified. Um, I'm not a very woke person, as all of you know probably. I'm going down a bunny trail again, and I'm sorry. I get wound up and want to lecture a little bit, but is that helping anybody what I've just said there?
So Jim, to make a new drainage district
Yeah.
on the east side of Mockingbird, you need two landowners to put in petitions. But then they gotta make sure that everybody from Mockingbird East is on board with it. Because if they're not on board,
Those people that are impacted by that are proposed to be land in the new drainage district, they have the right to object or support it. And if they object and they own more than 50% of the land by area and more than 50% by population and 70% of the land by area, then they defeat it. If they don't own that much, both thresholds have to be met. That's why John used the number of 30%. If more than 30% are in favor of it, nobody can defeat it. And it sounds to me like the people down there. Now, you don't have to do a brand new drainage district if you have a mutual, but turning a mutual over generally requires almost 100% agreement with the mutual owners. So it's better to just establish a new one. It's more efficient, less time consuming, and you can get it done.
And Jim, on common outlet, I thought I remembered that, the people that they're trying to charge common outlet, I thought that they could be aware of the meetings and attend the meetings, but I don't think they have any say, do they?
No,
If the district's taking on their water, they have to pay that district.
that's right. The district makes the decision, but as a courtesy, the code provides that the people in the districts, both of them, can attend. It's a public meeting, public hearing, so the public can all attend. And I like to include them because they're involved in it. Their land is involved in it.
Their water.
Yeah. That's pretty brief. Sometime if the board would like it, I think it might be a good thing to have just a general review of drainage law. And Jackie, I didn't do that this meeting,
Yeah.
but I think it'd be well if I would email you. I have had a drainage outline that I have used since I started getting really involved in drainage. I started practicing law in 1976. My father had been doing drainage since 1953, and it's what our firm has specialized since 53. But it's very basic. It goes through the parties in drainage, supervisors, the auditors as clerk, the engineer, an attorney, a contractor, landowners, petition, how those occur, hearings, engineers' reports, objections.
So then, Jim, what would be the board's next step with this one? Or is it the landowner step? Should we find that mutual agreement and have it looked at, or what should happen next?
Yeah, I think that should be reviewed, and whoever is still involved in that mutual drain should meet with the board and turn it over. It's supposed to go into the board for supervision, just like DD1 is. It becomes the same. It becomes a drainage district. And I can review the law on that. And you had a supervisor that didn't like that very well. He worked for the NRCS, maybe, or Department of Agriculture.
Or,
Was it Glance? Am I saying it right?
not sure.
Merlin Glance?
Oh, Merlin Bars.
Bart's?
Bart's. I don't know why I keep saying Glance. There's a Z in it, I think.
Yep.
It's just those landowners need to decide if they want to go to the cost. Because some decide not to, and others decide, there's enough absentee landowners and stuff like that, that they need a third party taking care of it, and that's where they'll spend money and put it into a district.
And the problem with the mutual, one of them, there are more than one, but it's just a written agreement. So if they do something, either a repair, an improvement, or whatever, they dig a new branch, then they have to send the bill out to everybody in the mutual and have them pay according to the schedule that was set up when the mutual was started. And if they don't pay, the only way to get their money is to take them to district court in Worth County and sue them and collect under that. So the reverse is, if it's in a drainage district and they're given a valid assessment for what their benefit is, assessments are based upon the material benefit, and everybody on the main has some kind of a benefit. Usually on branches, only the people on the branches pay for the branch. People on the branch pays a little bit on the main. Everybody pays on the main. And then the branch pay just their share of the branch. But that's all enforceable if landowners don't pay their drainage assessment, then that default is entered in the books, and the land becomes saleable the third Monday in June, just like if you don't pay your real estate taxes. Now, nobody's going to lose any farmland over a drainage assessment. It can't be that much, because farmland is worth a lot more than a drainage assessment. So it makes it very collectible and very manageable. People don't always like drainage law. You don't have to like it. You just need to follow it. And if you don't like the law, your recourse is to go to the legislature and get them to change the law. And that's been done too. My father was involved in a number of different times that drainage law was inequitable, because drainage law has changed. It's been different since it started in 1905 or 1906, and it's been useful ever since, but it's been changing ever since. So my dad and Don Etler found some very inequitable law, and they led a charge to change the law. which the legislature did. I don't have much to do with the legislature anymore, but they don't ask me my opinion much, and I don't care. I really don't.
So
Okay.
basically for you guys, if you want one to pay for the fact that we're going to water, that would be the route to go to engage an engineer, but then that costs money. So
Right.
does it end up getting done what you want done? I don't know.
So right now, any work east of Mockingbird, we're not on the hook for.
But you're giving them the water.
Right, but right now, but if they turn it into a drainage district, then
And you could,
That would be determined,
So we have a common outlet fee.
yeah, eventually it starts to common outlet.
which is fair.
They're fairly east of Mockingbird isn't very good shape. There's a lot of willows, a lot of,
It's a lot of work.
there's a lot of wet ground through there. And I think if
How many people are in, would be in that area? How many landowners? You think?
Oh, there's Joe Rock. Five to Nuthatch.
10, 12
Yeah,
landowners.
yeah, depends how it all five.
How many have signed on your mutual agreement?
Just myself, and two others.
Two of us.
And that's all on the west side of 65, up north of this ditch.
Yes,
That's where that mutual agreement is, where you guys dump your water into another ditch.
Yeah.
And then you're probably, well, you have to go across 65, or which way does the water go?
water goes in the shell rock
Oh,
It goes,
right there.
basically, they've got their own
north of
thing
my
going in
place.
Shell Rock.
Yep.
He's getting water from up above, dumping on his land.
Yeah, come across the ditch onto me, and I'm draining it off to the mutual drain.
Even though the ditch dug out a little deeper to handle that. But if we do that, the only people who are gonna pay is everybody west of Mockingbird.
or you just said not yet, not unless they become a district.
Well, that's, no, that would be true too. Yeah.
I mean, right
That's the thing,
now,
landowners right now, I guess my attitude is the landowners right now on the east side of Mockingbird gotta find out if they wanna become a district
right,
and then charge 74 and DD1 with a common outlet. Cause
74 dumps in there too.
74 dumps into it too.
Yeah, is 74 on schedule or?
They have their own little schedule.
They got their own,
They have their
all
own
the way to
schedule.
where they dump into their DD1?
No, they're just right here.
They're just right
I'd have to
there.
dig into 74 and see who all I got on there, but it's a smaller district.
Right, they're still dumping in.
but it is a common
There's
outlet.
one in that.
Yes.
I asked that gentleman a question that kind of, you still there?
Yes.
Sure, I was wondering about property that's in a 99-year wetland reserve program that broke the tile, can't farm it, can't build on it, can't do anything with it. Is it still a benefited acre?
Yes.
It is.
The theory of drainage benefits is the benefit is available, but the landowner has chosen to participate in the wetland. So therefore, you don't really want the drainage that you would want if you were raising corn and beans.
But what if the farmer that farmed it could never get it to dry out enough because the drainage ditch wouldn't take it away because it was a peat moss field? And so he finally just got tired of it and put it into the wetland.
Well, that was a good move then, I guess. He made a financial decision. Yeah, peat ground is tough. Peat ground doesn't play well with drainage district law because we force an assessment, but now your assessment is going to be only based upon your benefit. If you don't get a benefit out of your peat ground, you're not going to get assessed very much.
Yeah, your soil would come into play.
Yeah,
That's right.
That whole bottom land down through there is all floating muck. It's peat moss and we're trying to drain it. Doesn't work.
So that gets more into the nitty gritty on reclassification, divvying up that
Yeah.
expense. And it varies by project, but we have at times for what you're describing, if it's under a government contract for wetlands, we have done reductions to.
I'm not opposed to digging out to help Mr. Severson. I don't have a problem with that, but I want to know that it's gonna work before we just dump the money in there.
Sure.
the elevation of the field, and it's just, I don't mind helping somebody out or doing my part, that's fine. Just want to have an idea that's gonna work. Can you guys do that? Get the elevations and stuff of things or whatever,
Yes, and that's part of that report process is
Okay.
figuring out, make sure all the grades work. When we get into reclassification, one of the things we can check if there are areas that we know are too deep to drain. We can figure that out and say, well, these areas.
That's all I would like to ask, if I could, please. I'm sorry, I'm an industrial electrician. I work hard for my money. I don't like to give it away if I don't have to, but I'm not opposed to it because you're a good man.
Understood. No, we try to account for that in this process. Like there's
John,
things that there are.
would you tell the landowners the four main factors that you use when you do a classification of land?
So
Soil.
there are three primary ones, and there's a fourth one that, depending on the situation, and this sounds like it might apply here. First one is wetness. So we look at the soils through the whole watershed. Hilltops need less drainage than the pothole soils, so they're going to be assessed more, the lowlands. Use factor, how much of that ditch are you using? So if someone near the outlet, you're only using a very short portion of it, you're going to pay a lower percentage of the total than somebody that's draining it from the very upper end. Because that ditch was brought to your property or closer to your property, you're using more of that channel, so your assessments will be higher. Lands that are right on the ditch are going to pay more than lands that are farther out away from the ditch because they have direct drainage from that facility, whereas somebody that's a mile out has to have some other system to get it there. So we call that one proximity. The fourth one is, and it sounds like maybe this peat bog sound may be a fit for this, is need factor. Sometimes we dig those ditches deeper or steeper, depending on the landscape. They're either too deep or too shallow to either drain out low areas, or if you're up on a hill, you've got free drainage, you didn't need that ditch dug at all. So we can kind of play with those and adjust based on the different situation. Ward County is less rolling than a lot of places we use. There's a fifth one, elevation. We have some areas that we have 30-foot hills right next to the ditch. Well, those don't need drainage the same way. So we have a myriad of factors to try to account for everything that's going on in that watershed. And then try to take into account as much as we can from the landowners.
You look at the government website, almost the entire drainage district 1 is holding muck. Almost the whole thing is. Nobody farms it anymore, except Mr. Severson has 40 acres and he's got 14 acres of it down in the muck that doesn't drain. That's the drainage district 1. There's nobody else farming any of it.
Yeah, actually, I just had a conversation with Colin in Palo Alto County. It's a 300-acre watershed. It's different than this, obviously, but the same question. The majority of it's already in government program. What do we do with drainage? What's the solution? Because if nobody needs the drainage, it's just what landowner. I don't have a great answer. That's something we have to work through leading up to the project, and then if we do go forward with the report, that's something that's got to be worked through in that hearing process. What is the right thing to do?
He's talking about everything on the west side of Mockingbird. How about on the east side of Mockingbird, where this gentleman's got his crops? Is most of that muck too, pasture? Most of it's farm, isn't it? See, that's what we're doing today.
Right, yes, I understand.
That's, he's talking up further. Yeah, we talked about bottom end.
Yeah. On the west side of Mockingbird, yeah, you're right.
Right.
Sounds like
That's why Gene came in and said, because he's farming land there, but we're looking at because the whole drainage district goes all the way down to Shell Rock and crosses 65. We're looking at everything east, all the way to the Shell Rock.
Yep, I thought that they were gonna decide if they wanted to become a district.
Well, that's the next move they gotta make. Landowners gotta make a decision on whether they want a new district.
They're the east side. Right.
How many people here are from the west side or east side of Mockingbird here? Besides you, Barges? Anybody else?
That's it, right?
Yeah, see, we don't have any. They're gonna have input. Those landowners are gonna have input into that, whether they want to make a new district.
It just for your benefit part, that's the deal. Especially if there's more than 2 of you that are affected by this.
you can see what happened over the years of.
Not that we want
Not
more
keeping
to
it up to date.
but you have it.
The farming's got worse and worse as the years go on.
Yeah,
More gets down, more water, it hasn't been brought up to date. It's,
yeah, it's been getting worse over.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
gonna
less rain, to flood out.
This year's been.
So is it
bad.
easier for them to establish a new district
Got 7
than it
inches
would
the
be
other
for
night.
it to
I
connect
have,
to the
I got water covered,
existing?
probably mine have never seen.
Yeah.
Sediment.
Yeah.
I would assume there's a couple other landowners that are having the same issues as you are down there, so I would
Yeah.
think you'd be in favor of.
Norman Johnson's to the western there, it comes through me, it's on him. Just Peterson's the south.
Yep.
He's
Put
in
it up PD1, just the free funds been annexed.
Yeah, well, but I was, yeah, it's supposed to be there.
Go ahead.
So the question was, is it easier to establish a district or turn this mutual into a district? And annex
Well,
those?
this, no, I think it confuses.
It.
Well, the mutual we have is separate.
Right there.
Correct.
Way.
So,
Yeah, I just.
so there's.
None of the water goes,
We don't allow-
goes out to the drainage district.
No, that's fine.
Right, so the mutual is carrying away the water.
Water from the drainage.
Right, so there's kind of 3 different routes that we could consider, we could look at. Number one, the most straightforward procedure is establishment. Ignore the mutual agreement, establish that district downstream. They would take over that ditch, have benefited lands, assess DD1, whether directly through annexation or through common outlet. That's one option. It's just set aside the mutual agreement altogether. Option 2 is it's a small mutual agreement. You could, in theory, 3 of you agree to turn that over and form a new district out of that. We now have a district that could take over the rest of that ditch and annex those lands up to DD1. That eliminates a lot of that establishment procedure. And now we're into annexation, which we're taking over that ditch all the way up. Annexation is a very interesting animal right now with the court rulings. So that was a little bit more difficult. But you avoid the establishment portion because that mutual could in theory become a drainage district and bring those things in. The third option, and Jim, you might have to flesh out this piece a little bit more. DD1 could take over that ditch all the way down to the shell rock and annex it all as benefited lands to DD1 all the way through. Again, you're doing a large annexation. And again, the courts right now are very
Your
very
mutual
wishy-washy.
agreement part is a ditch you guys got, it goes all the way to Shell Rock. It doesn't have anything to do with this other.
Correct. That's a.
Well, that's a totally separate.
It's a totally separate.
Yes.
Sorry, I think that's initial. Sorry, I thought that was on this.
They're taking the water.
What you're talking about, you have
theirs.
2 directions with
Yeah.
the water.
No, sorry,
So they can have their
So
mutual
we got-
agreement, just leave it alone. They don't
Yeah.
have to do it that.
sorry, I was confusing that.
Okay,
My
so I was
my
wondering.
apologies. So now we're down to the 2. It's either establish a new district up to DD1, up to and or including DD1, or DD1 takes that over as a facility and brings in the benefit land along the entire length. Functionally, I think the establishment would be the simpler way to do it because everybody gets a vote and it avoids the legal issues right now with annexation. It bypasses that, everybody gets a vote, decide whether or not to come in, establish the district.
Say,
I'm sorry.
say there's another district formed up to District 1. And they charge an outlet fee that they still are paying some of their maintenance, aren't they? Or is that outlet fee gonna be all charged to District 1?
No, they,
No, they'll.
I could give you
They still pay, still make.
the one I'm in, DD 23, when it's all said and done, there's 7, 18, there's 3 other districts. Anyway, I think during that whole thing, we ended up paying 30% of the whole, of 100%. So they paid 70% up to us. We paid the other 50% when they did that work on. I think that's all.
that sounds about right.
Somewhere in that vicinity. So, going forward, if it was just maintaining, basically, they'd be maintaining your outlet a little better, and you would pay percentage of that if you were
Right.
got the common outlet.
And one of so there's 2 sides to common outlet. One benefit is it's really not worth procedure to charge you a common outlet for regular maintenance. So 19 years out of 20, they're just gonna do their own spray program, they're gonna do their own thing, assess that. It'll be fairly small bills, and it's not worth the process of assessing that common outlet. The only time you'd be assessed is when there's larger projects that it actually makes financial sense to go through the procedure to charge that fee to your district. So you miss out on a lot of that. The flip side of that is you don't get a vote in what this new district does, because you're not in the district, you are adjacent to the district. So those are if you want to have a vote in what happens down there, you want to be annexed, be part of it, but then you pay in every small maintenance event that occurs.
Right. So I don't know, it's the fairest or the best way to be would be for them to go ahead and get their district, get that area cleaned. And then probably do the common outlet afterwards.
I think so, but ultimately I don't decide. It's kind of we have to figure out what the right answer is, but I think that probably is the most sensible.
It's a little bit about what we're fighting down there, like for went ahead and kind of said, let's get this up to date, pay for it, and then it should be paying common out fighting. You know. That way facilities up to date before you, I mean, even though you've had 100-some years, free drainage, I guess.
There's gotta be enough landowners on your side, Parker, that are
It wouldn't be
on board
against
with this. Do your own district.
I've talked with a couple of them. I have not approached about forming a district, but they're about fed up with the water as I am.
You might wanna talk to some more of them, and then now that you know that you gotta have 70% of the land and 50% of the,
30% of the land recording.
okay, 30% of the land authority.
the first step here would be we get a list of all those landowners that would be affected by this. Probably have a meeting. That's all right.
Yep.
Simple about it.
So how do you determine the sporting land?
Well, we kind of got some down, or do we need a
Ultimately, to make the decision, you have to be at a hearing. You have to have a engineer's report defining these are the lands that are considered the benefit land. So that there's a target that everybody sees. And then those are the lands that vote whether to establish or not.
So it's not like mine, there's a tile going to a separate outlet.
You
I'm really not
few,
getting any benefit.
you have few, if any, acres on your land.
tiles going the opposite way, but you're getting water from there.
Right.
Yeah, so essentially your portion will be just right on that ditch, helping carry that water across. So it would be just those lands right against the panel. If anything, done, like I said, BD 23, we actually had the ditch went downstream another 1.5 mile from where the boundary for the district, the lands that actually paid for it stopped. Because they just had to get the water downstream further.
More tile maps you have, the better. Anything that
Yeah, as far as for assessments and stuff like that, I'm sure we can be.
prove which way your water goes.
I mean, I would think so. Probably need to be there and gauge down on this, and then take a look at what you think, what the district would be, and then, or the benefit acres. If it's never been done before.
Well, there's no petition on right now.
No,
right
right
now,
now.
I can prepare that just so there's information. There's no
Yeah,
district
it's
that pays for it.
form we go before, I mean, you'll need to be paid, but
Yeah.
if it's not a whole, will it be by hour or? How would you do?
If we actually move forward into a project, we bill by the hour. That's what drainage law described as per diem. But where we're at right now, we're not at the point that there's a project going forward. It's just trying to figure out if there's interest. We can do that. That's not a big deal. Or
So you can throw together names.
Throw
that we can
together,
Send out, and have another
yeah,
one reading.
have a rough boundary, have the land we're looking at. And we at least have an informational meeting like this, but more specific to that downstream district and say, this is what we'd be looking at.
So in a sense, DD1 was affected by this
Until there's a district down there to assess them. Right. Yeah, DD1's doing what they can legally do, which is push their water past Mockingbird. They're under no obligation to do anything beyond that other than to prevent excessive damage immediately downstream. And doesn't sound like that's the issue. It sounds like it's just the water as a whole coming down that entire valley that they're contributing to the problem.
Everything falls into place, we should still be able to get this on, get a good listing, get painting done and stuff for next spring.
I would think
So
so.
you make, no, there's no big objections and sail through this.
The only objection is we don't have $7.
Well, so now you need drainage. Pick up the difference. So you gotta have the tile. The drainage, unfortunately. Well, you got a zero down there. You said it took out waste high corn. So I mean,
You know, the burn you can get.
So we need a landowner to petition.
Maybe Jim, do you want to go through what would be the requirements for actually pursuing an establishment?
You need 2 landowners to sign the petition. And once that's done, it's submitted to the Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors are then required by law to hire an engineer to make a survey and a report in writing. The survey just means to survey the people. It doesn't mean to go out and measure it. That's already pretty well done. And typically the board hires the same engineer that helped the landowners put it together because that engineer is already familiar with it. And then you publish notice and you mail notice. The notice is published in a paper of general circulation in Worth County. And the notice is mailed to the proposed landowners by ordinary mail. That notice happens 20 days before the hearing. Then at the hearing, all the landowners can file a written objection or a written supporting statement. The beauty of drainage law is no decisions are made in private. No decisions are made behind a closed door in a smoke-filled room. It's all out in the open, and it's subject to public scrutiny because it's a public procedure. Once the district is established, at the same time, there needs to be a determination of what the assessment will be to all of the landowners in the district. And that is done by an analysis of what's called the Classification Commission. The Classification Commission consists of a competent drainage engineer and 2 disinterested landowners. Disinterested landowners are people that own land in Worth County, but they don't own any land in the proposed drainage district. That commission makes its report to the board, and the board establishes assessments on each parcel of land. Assessments are based upon 40-acre parcels. So if you had, say if you own 320 acres, you'd have 8, if my math is right, yeah, you'd have 8 parcels. Each of those parcels would have a different assessment. They could be the same, they could all be different because the land maybe isn't the same as other neighboring land. And that's basically the gist of it. Now you're off and running. And is there more detail you think, John, we need to talk about?
No, I
I got a question.
really kind of
The 2 landowners that do the 2 petitions, you bring it to the supervisors, and the supervisors say, okay, we'll get an engineer involved. So the engineer gets involved, and then it doesn't go through because there's left landowners that are against it. Do those 2 petitioners have to get bonded first? In other words, who's paying for those engineers?
Very good question. I recommend that in my father did it a little differently. It was a little old school, and I'm not very new school, but I'm different. We provide for posting what's called a property bond, and that just means if I own like a half section, and there's a projection that it'll cost maybe $30,000 to do this, then I will stand that $30,000. But once the district is established, the traditional way of doing it is now that you have an assessment schedule, everything should be put into the assessment schedule and pay for the landowners who benefit according to their brand new assessment, which means I will be taken partially off the hook. I won't be paying for everything, and that will get it established. You can post a bond. The problem with the bond is a commercial surety bond is a very expensive premium to it. And it's just easier to do a property bond. Both the landowners can have their land stand for it.
So then would the county issue stamp warrants that would be backed by that bond, or how does that work?
Yes, the expenses get paid that way. And then now, since you're going to get an assessment, and as the people begin to pay their assessments, you can pay off the stamped warrants. I've been paid that way a number of times. John and I and his firm, the trouble is there is not much new establishment. We have well over 3,000 drainage districts in the state of Iowa. So most that needed to be established have been established. But every once in a while, there'll be a unique situation where a new district needs to be established. Does that answer the landowner's question?
Well, that was the supervisor that asked that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This thing gets, if it fails, it's gonna drop back on those two petitions, right?
That's right.
It'd be critical to know.
It's critical that you go door to door, the landowners in DD1 and find out where they're.
No, not DD1.
Not a DD1, but
East of.
New-
Mockingbird to Shore.
used to.
If you look at the map,
When I
it's still
go to get a
DD.
map of.
Based on
That's-
Mockingbird.
Map's not right.
Yeah,
East of
we'll get that for you.
Mockingbird, those people.
There you go.
Yeah, Mockingbird to Shell Rock.
Yeah. Push over.
And the DD1 people would be involved until there was a classification.
You're
Because then
talking
there
about-
would
Be
be,
an open.
You're talking about forming a new district,
if they form the new
not
district,
part of one. And-
no,
Then when the reclass comes up, you guys, Leonard, because you won't have anything to say about east of Mockingbird.
and you still won't have a vote, but you can be in those meetings because the engineer will determine what your benefit is to dump your water into that facility.
Does the reclassification go all the way up through District One?
If it went through that done, it probably should.
Do the whole, yeah,
Just to make sure that everybody's paying their fair share.
It's the fairest way to do it.
whatever, like it be, yes.
And then if there's other lands that have been tiled into that haven't been part of this,
That'll show up.
come in, do it. It gets everybody on that page of, it used to be this 10 parcels. Now it's developed into 20 because everybody's tiled into it. Right. Yeah, it's just bringing it up to 2025.
Reclassification costs a little money, but they're good to do. Because these things are old, original.
Every one that we've ever did's been at least 50 years old, if not.
And then if they get to the point to determine if there needs to be repairs or improvements, then you have
Got a general idea of
or do you do that all at the same time?
Well, it depends on what pieces we're doing. We've done a lot of them where we've reclassified before we do the report. And then when we come in with the report on repairs, it's gonna cost this much. You can just look at the schedule, you know exactly what you're gonna pay. Fairly common to do a large project like an establishment and repairs. And at the same time do the classification. So we can kind of do it either way. If we want to start with just getting the district established and classified, and then we can not worry about actual repair work yet. But that delays it. We would probably be able to hit the clean out by next year. Alternatively, probably the answer to that is do the establishment report what the ditch needs to be cleaned out to. And we're doing that classification kind of in parallel with that or immediately after we know the dollars.
And then
Pretty common.
the other thing is, you can't stop a repair train. That by law, you're supposed to keep the district facility in repair. But if there were improvements, then you could change your mind.
Yeah, what Jackie just said, the drainage law for an existing drainage district, the district is required by statute to make repairs. Repairs are mandatory. There to restore and maintain the district facilities to its original design capacity and its original design efficiency. That's a repair. If you had, it's kind of like the roof on your barn. If you shingle it, that's a repair. If you replace all the roof rafters and all the sheathing and you change the slope, that's basically an improvement. So you folks know the difference between a repair and an improvement. Repairs are mandatory. Improvements are not. They're permissive.
So if
You,
it was just established, does that mean that anything in the beginning is an improvement?
no, the establishment is actually a classification, but up in one it would be a reclass because it's already classified.
But this new district would just be established, so we don't have original specs for
Yeah.
what it, because it's new.
Dug out.
Right.
Whatever.
So
Whatever needs dug out. Yeah, so
It'd
the,
be built to today's code.
Yeah.
right, so the,
can they put the brakes on? If
well, that's what it's, they, by killing the project, by stopping the establishment. You could do.
Okay.
But if it's petitioned with the property, with the proper amount, I would foresee it, monsters coming, I would foresee it moving forward, as these guys have all talked, they're ready to pay
Yeah.
to get this established.
Yeah.
Because they've been fighting it for years, and they don't wanna keep, so I wouldn't see that.
But they haven't seen numbers yet either.
Well,
10, 12 landowners, I mean,
right.
to reach some of those percentages.
But more-
Especially if you got 2 or 3 that are already saying,
More
hey, we need to do something.
better off in work for them.
Was there original specs on District One?
That could be.
Is there?
Just on one, up to Mockingbird.
There's
Then
some
that's where it
specs on
stops.
that stuff, okay, all right.
So, and if we are shooting for that, I'll be honest, that spring 26 is tight, but
I know,
if. Right now, we've been bidding a bunch of projects, mostly in Western Iowa, we're getting contractors from across the states. $50,000 projects, we're getting 12 contractors bidding on. So
that's amazing.
if we can get the process moving, make a decision relatively soon and try to get that moving. I think we have pretty competitive bids from good contractors to do the work.
We've had pretty competitive bids lately on our,
Yeah.
Lately, we have on me and with
Yeah.
the building stuff we're doing, we get
Yeah.
a lot of interest, so I think there's some hungry contractors out there as a whole.
Lining up with getting my list. Yeah. Yeah, I know, I was just trying to.
No,
He's been fighting it for.
yeah, no, absolutely. I get trying to get it done quickly.
I want to get it done.
Procedure in there, there's just,
Yeah.
there's
Right.
there's things that will slow that down somewhat, but
So is there a general consensus that we can go with, John, and give us a little assistance on the area that may be affected?
yeah, I can put together one.
Mr. Parcher? you know,
List to mail,
talk
like,
with
love
those landowners. Cause you kind of probably know who they are anyways, but there may be one or two if he finds it. Then if the petition comes to us. We would engage you fully, right?
Yep.
That seem right to everybody?
Could this also include some of the landowners up to 74?
If they
They have to, obviously.
That's.
Basically, John will get us a list, hopefully,
yeah, I can.
Okay.
So
get us,
that aspect, we'd be able to charge 2 outlet fees.
Yes.
Well, you'd be one, you'd be charging both the common outlet, so that percentage of money, if it was 30%, would be split up over that many breakers. I mean, like when I said 30%, that covered 3 different districts. You know, I mean, that was
Yeah.
it was.
now these two districts,
This is.
common outlet fees. Will they pay any of the cost of the establishment of their district?
I don't know, Jim, they wouldn't pay any of the costs, the common outlet, would they pay part of the establishment fees or? They not, is there some portion that the common outlet does not have to pay?
They would not, I'm sorry, I got tongue tied. They would not pay any of the fees to establish a new district.
But what if any work was done? Is that when that would start?
I don't understand the question.
So if they establish this district and they know they need to do the work, they need to spend the money, get that segment of ditch cleaned. And right now, there's no common outlets. But should that district, it's a new established district, should it take care of its ditch by itself first? Or should they establish the district and then charge the common outlets and then do the project?
I think they do their planned repairs or improvements, and then they bill the other the district that's going to get the common outlet fee, bills that newly established district, but they don't pay for any part of it that is establishment, just for what comes through their facility.
Right. That I understand.
I can see that question coming up, so I was like,
So we're still gonna pay for it if they develop a new district.
Clean it.
And pay for it to dig it all out.
Yeah. A portion.
A portion of.
Portion.
Portion of it.
the common outlet fee will be cheaper than
Because you weren't
their
paying,
fees.
you weren't paying when they made the outlet for you in the first place.
Okay.
So, John, get a list of Val, get it to Mr. Parker.
Yep.
You'll get the ball rolling there, get back to us.
Will do.
That work?
Yeah.
Yep, see what they say, see if.
Got the tile, let the place fly.
You're already there, so.
I'm already there.
I would think,
I'll get some money out of it.
Let's do that, it would be an issue for everybody to jump.
But it'd make a heck.
I've got
I'll do your best
if you want. We also did wetlands project, if you really wanna do that.
It's still good farmland, we know that, it just needs some assistance, and
Yeah.
it'll right back to where it was.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Still not big rents.
So if it is established,
Yeah.
you guys will get, and they go forward
Yeah.
further, then you guys will be notified.
So he gets,
Yeah.
If they're,
Yes.
so when he gets in a list, I'll get that list to you.
No, but will that solve the problem west of Mockingbird?
So. I think it will help the problem west of Mockingbird, if the ditch is in as bad a shape as I've been hearing. Getting that repair done, it's.
Yeah, because right now you're
You satisfied with it?
It's backing up.
Well, I think having a wider ditch east of Mockingbird, I think will help drainage district number one.
That's what I'm kind of concerned about.
More
too.
volume of water.
Yeah,
It'll move it.
Right now,
Water down.
on my property, the water is very high.
oh, I know
But
that.
I was just there before the meeting and I see the water
Is that
just
the-
gently moving. It-
Far.
For all the water that's in the ditch, the water is just
you have
barely
enough-
flowing.
Yeah, I was just by there this morning myself.
Did you notice that?
Uh-huh.
You look on the other side of the road, it's either flat or it's full.
It's full. And do you
We had a
know?
lot of rain though, so that week,
It should be moved.
It's not, it's just, it's flowing like this.
First crossing out of the road, it's
well,
moving
thank
pretty
you
good.
very much, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think we got you covered.
Jackie,
And
before I sign off, you guys were discussing fees. I wanted to let you know that if John and I get involved,
I do remember.
I need some rhubarb pie from Cafe, and John likes to eat great big huge double cheeseburgers.
Get it before she sells it.
All right, yep.
And we both like to get the gossip down there on the corner.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Sure.
Anyhow,
We'll figure it out and be in touch.
Thank you, Jim.
let me know what you'd like to do. I'm happy to help out.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Can I quit?
Yep.
There you go.
All right.
Gonna hang up on that.
See you, Jim.
Bye.
Ask a question before you.
Yep.
Do I have another question? No? Yes? Hey, Beth? Beth? Hey, babe? They're done with me. Huh? So how
My ditch is about 2 feet.
Is it that much?
I couldn't tell. It was full when I was.
When I looked at it, it ain't much of a ditch.
So,
Well, hell no, there was grass 3 foot tall last fall.
Yeah, I think the reason for that is they're sure his field is in the ditch.
right.
It's a wider ditch, but it's
Yeah.
shallow ditch.
It's a wide shallow
But you
ditch.
can't keep taking dirt out of the field and think you keep draining the field if it keeps going
I mean-
forward.
It just needs to be cleaned the way I understand it. Clean it, throw it on the bank you wanna build up. That's your spoil pile. Flatten that out. You can build your dike up. If you gain a couple feet of your ditch. And you gain a foot there, you know, you gain all
Yeah.
that room.
So then any water from upstream hopefully would go
Go
down.
right on through and not come up over the top and.
From Mallard and Mockingbird.
But I would like to see if we could get some elevations of the field.
Yeah.
Have him take a look at it, I would appreciate
I mean,
that.
I mean, to be honest, we wouldn't do that here. We do that next Monday. Truthfully, we should probably engage them to do a reclassification.
Like that, I would appreciate that.
But you shouldn't really do that till he gets done, cause then we.
No, I think you're fine doing that reclassification because you're talking about two separate districts.
Possibly.
You're really not gonna gain anything by doing them all at once, are you, Dan? I mean,
No,
Since that one's established already.
because he's looking for some elevations and things like
yeah,
that.
we actually just did that with, DD6 over here, and that classification 38 was already done,
Yeah.
but we just dropped that in as part of it. We figured the dollars based on 36 now instead of 38, so it doesn't really change much for us.
Because any common outlet fees are gonna be charged according to what the classification.
Then they'll know what their output fees. would
And you
be.
should, is it 47? And did you say something else? Is there,
40,
is there
was
40?
it? Val and I were looking and there's some logical ones.
Because they, 47 and 43 should be paying into your DD1. Whenever you clean that, they should be helping pay for that.
The 74 is down below it, right?
It's a smaller one, I haven't dug into that.
And the ones
as
up
far as I've been
above
today.
don't drain into it at all.
Yeah.
But if it's not reclassified,
Goes
it's-
straight to Shelburne.
Yep.
But we don't have a good schedule on that one.
if you don't, then it needs to be reclassified.
It's bad.
So we need to
Well, same with DD one.
Reclassify.
There's
Reclassify one.
original schedule, that is it.
And then that would help. I mean, once you have your elevations, then we can talk more about trying to get your situation.
They
Maybe
can
fix
come back and say,
that.
yeah, we could clean this out, do this, do that, and it's gonna help everybody. And hopefully keep the water rolling through.
I guess, yeah, eventually,
On the-
DD1 still needs to be able to function on its own anyway, so.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I can get it
Oh.
online.
You get that out of the way, or get it in the list, get going on, so put that on next week. I think that's what needs to be done, we'll take care of it, and get him engaged for those areas or do the reclassification.
And then just a good ditch cleanup through there may help everybody out.
My schedule looks-
And you maybe wouldn't only have to go through Davidson.
If it was work, no,
Right, make sure it was money
pay
well,
for something that's gonna work.
yeah,
so.
make sure it's money well invested, right?
The ditch down.
All right.
East of Mallard,
Nothing else?
familiar where Mallard is?
Take a motion to adjourn the
So I.
meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second. Moved in second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Both same sign, motion carries.
Supervisors ever spread